This episode is brought to you by Dragon Snack Games, Buffalo's full-line hobby game store featuring one of Western New York's largest selection of board games, gaming miniatures, model paint, dice, role-playing games, collectible card games, and more. I have actually been to this place. It's massive, much bigger than you would think. Check it out. That's Dragon Snack Games. Hello, Nomads, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of the Book of Boba Fett. Quick review. And, yeah, we're going to get right into it. We just got done watching this, so this is pretty fresh. I've watched it twice, but I know that Eric and Dave just wrapped it up, and I just finished my second viewing. I'm going to come off real quick on this one and say I loved it. I thought it was a great episode. This was an episode I needed to see because it just spent more time in the current time, which is what I was kind of here for. Mm-hmm. But what's cool is it made me appreciate 1 and 2 now more. And I kind of want to, I'm excited to rewatch this season now because of what they did with 3. So just saying, me personally, I really enjoyed it.
Yep. I would say that's probably been my favorite episode so far. We kind of get a turning point here with, it kind of wraps up the stuff with the Tuskens. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but
no, you're good. Yeah. But anyways, I mean, I'm Brandon, I'm the host, but Eric, I didn't say our names in the beginning, so
Hi.
I was too excited to talk about this episode, and Dave's here doing a Wookie voice. Yeah, dude, my head is just, I don't know. I personally am just coming in with my head spinning a little bit. But what did you think about it, Dave?
So, the Millennial Biker Gang, I didn't like it.
Dave didn't like it. Shocker.
I don't know. I always feel like the bad guy here. Come on. But it was all right. We got the Wookie Fight, which was like the high point of the whole episode. And then getting the Rancor and then learning out that they're sensitive. And you got millennials on shiny rainbow bikes riding through the city. And they're doing... the hover chase is cool, but I don't want to get too far into it. But it's pretty weak. All the Tusken Raiders, they're just dead. They died off screen. Oh, they're all gone. But they're not gone because one of them's going to come back later just when Boba Fett needs them. And it's going to be that one that trained them. And there's going to be something going on there. But that is very, very disrespectful to the Tusken Raiders to just, your guys are all dead now. I don't know. Then the Millennial
It was a very Luke situation where he came, he left and came back and, his house was burned down and Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen were laying there dead in flames.
It's kind of I don't know. It makes it turn, the whole season they've been turning Boba Fett from he's a badass bounty hunter that doesn't give a fuck and he's going to go get his quarry and get whoever he needs to. Now he's he's the tragic hero now.
Dave, we talked about this, that other people said that about him. We've never seen anything about him. We just seen a few minutes of this guy, and everything else is just what reputation or people saying shit. We don't know.
Well, there's books and all sorts of other stuff.
They even said it in the beginning when that Lortha Peel guy, the watermonger dude, came to talk to Boba Fett because these kids were stealing his water or whatever. He told him straight up, nobody respects you, and that's what this episode was about, was Boba Fett sort of earning a little bit more respect. I did I don't know, this was his first quote unquote job that he was given as the new mob boss, the Daimo.
Yeah. It reminded me of Ned Stark in Game of Thrones this episode a little bit, because when people just get wiped out and burned and all that stuff, all right, they're all dead.
Yeah.
And then now he's doing this Ned Stark thing, was it the mountain, or his brother was it was the mountain, right? He was just going through and just wiping out people, and they're the Lannisters are at fault for this. We have to stop this. And here we are with Star Wars. It's kind of the same thing a little bit, right? it feels like he's in that court and he has to deal with people, these factions, which I thought was really cool when that droid was showing the different factions after the death of Jabba. I thought that was
pretty cool. It was weirdly he was like a weirdly wise droid. Like you've never, like most droids are like beep boop a little bit like C-3PO, but like he was like I don't know, you can tell he's seen some
Oh
shit.
yeah, you could tell he's been around the block.
Because he knows not to be disrespectful. He knows that droid is yeah. It was good.
There was I feel like there was some scenes that were cool. Like, I don't know, this is kind of what I wanted to see from Boba Fett, because you got the shot of like him and his crew walking down the street going to confront those whatever.
That was pretty
teenagers.
badass.
Yeah. And then
he comes upon Star Wars Power Rangers.
Well,
Because they each
it was
got-
very
Star Wars meets American Eagle. Kind of.
Like,
well, it was
They were way too attractive. This one
All
kid
of
was
them.
just like, he had perfect hair, and
they're
I'm
all
like,
super clean. There's no dirt, and there's not a speck of
pretty.
fucking dirt.
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
one thing I did like about them was like they lean into kind of like a cyberpunky aspect, because they're
Yeah.
like they modified their body with droid parts.
I was kind of liking that by the end of the episode. It was a weird shift, but it's like, you know what? Let's think about it. Times do change, so style is allowed to change in Star Wars, and we don't have to have that fucking look, right?
Right.
So it makes sense.
Was it me, or did the black kid with the eye thing, was it like blinged out with diamonds like towards the end of like part of the episode? I looked at that and I was like, that's just fucking
Could have been.
really? That's Star Wars? I don't know. We're still blinging shit out in the far-flung future.
I was gonna say, we've never seen like, I don't know, the quote unquote teenage culture of the Star Wars universe, I guess. So maybe this is it.
Right. Dude, this episode gave it's either you like it or you don't. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. They just gave us they had that like bike chase
Yeah.
through the city, and I was like, this is cool. Like, it's just cool because I'm just looking around. I'm like, it's not like the most insane chase. I don't think it was meant to be. It's kind of slow. Like, it's not like a
The
pod
bikes
race.
didn't
It's-
look
No.
like they were going fast at all. It was weird.
Right.
It looked like they're going 18 miles an hour, but it's just fast enough where you couldn't run. But everybody's kind of taking their time, and nobody really gets hurt. Like, one dude gets flipped over, and he acts like he has.
Well, I
fucking
also
legs.
really liked that Boba Fett, like, he sent his crew off to chase the mayor's assistant or whatever. And then at the end of the chase, he just shows up, he drops from the sky on his jetpack. I'm like, couldn't you have just done that the whole time? I thought that was funny.
Well, it's a weird thing, though. I was thinking about it during this one. Is like all the movies are so epic. We have these giant fucking space battles, and there's like Star Destroyers and shit. And this was more like the day-to-day shit that goes on in Tatooine. Like, it's not. There's nothing, no crazy explosions, no Star Destroyers in orbit.
Yeah,
it's just
smaller
just another
smaller
day in
scale
Mos
stuff.
Espa.
Well, let's talk about the part you did like, Dave, with the Wookie fight, Black Chrysanthemum.
Oh yeah, because it happens right
that
after
was
his, like his remembering
His little dream.
of his tribe getting wiped out, and it builds like this. All right, my real opponent is the Pikes.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna set that up.
Yeah, it kind of scared the shit out of me because it was like it's all quiet, and all of a sudden he's just getting ripped out of the tank.
Yeah, that was awesome.
His little millennial posse with all their Ninja Turtle weapons show up and come to save the day. They help out, at least Boba, from getting his back broken by a giant 8-foot Wookiee. I didn't think Wookiees were allowed to bite. I think that's a bad thing in Wookiee culture, I thought.
Well, he's fighting dirty for sure.
Like Wookiees don't use their teeth, or maybe
Dude,
it's
he
their-
tried
I
to
don't know,
kill a
their
guy
claws
in
or
a
something,
Bacta
but-
He had electric brass knuckles.
He's not.
That
Yeah,
was
he's not
badass.
the most moral character. What do you want of this guy?
Well, he got stabbed multiple times. He's just like a fucking bull in a china shop, just wrecking fools in there. That was good.
I thought it was a really cool shot where he dove onto the Gamorrean guards.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
I just like, I don't think I've ever pictured that where like a Wookiee's tackling those guys, and then
he rolls
that
in,
was
just
kinda
like
cool to
pops
see.
up, and he's on the move again. He was just like
So I thought
he's got that Wookiee rage.
the implications of this fight were interesting, because in the second episode they introduced the twins, the Hutts, as, you know, they kind of seem like they're going to be the major conflict with Boba Fett. But I mean, we learned that the Hutts are the ones that sent, you know, the Wookiee to try to kill him. But then they show up and are like, "We're sorry about this. we're going to offer you tribute. And then we're also leaving Tatooine. Like, they're not the true threat here. The true threat is, we get to see it at the end with the Pikes, like you were saying, Brandon, when, the mayor's bringing all the Pikes in to control the territory. And so they're trying to start a war. But I just thought it was interesting that they kind of, I don't know if we're going to see the Hutts again, but they kind of wrapped that up already, because they said
I was a little
they were
disappointed
leaving.
in that. Because
Right.
I wanted to see, like, the Hutts, fight dirty. I don't know. We don't get to see much of the Hutts either in all the Star Wars stuff. You get to see them, like, lord over, like, Tatooine. I guess Jabba. That's about it. But, yeah, I didn't even really know who the Pikes were either. I thought when they said crime syndicate, like the word syndicate specifically made me think of the gang from Solo. That Darth Maul is part of. I had to look this up. The Crimson Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah, Crimson Dawn, yeah, which is mentioned in Solo.
Yeah, I assumed it was going to be them. I didn't know who these Pike guys even really were, or why they're so feared, or anything really about them. So
I'm sure we'll learn more about them, but they were the ones that were controlling the train from episode 2. Like, they were the ones that were transporting all the stuff across the desert and everything.
No, those are the fish face guys, right?
That's the same people, same dudes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they just had those masks on
Yep, exactly.
to protect their.
Well, let's talk about the highlight of this episode, when fucking Danny Trejo shows up with a with a
That's what
rancor.
I'm talking about. I was
Out
like,
of
this
nowhere.
show is having fun, man. I love it. Like, I'm enjoying the world building, and then they do something like this, where like, okay, I'm liking this actor being in the Star Wars universe. That is super cool. Like, I don't mind
But
it.
you just see
It was fine.
See Danny Trejo.
He shows up where you least expect it. He always shows up where you least expect him to.
He's just he's like a likable guy. I think I just,
Sure.
So whatever. I mean, he just shows up, and I mean, this is crazy. So now I'm starting to really appreciate the Tusken Raiders. I'm actually like, it was 1 and 2 of the season were kind of weird to me. Like, why do I want to care about this? But now that they've been wiped out, I'm like, you got my emotions. And then you throw like this Wookiee at me, and like there's this crazy fight, and it was kind of scary at first. I'm like, okay, so there's all these emotions. And then this like a cool scene happens, which is this delivery of a rancor by Danny Trejo, which is just wild.
Do you know rancors are emotionally complex creatures?
I wrote that down, and I'm like, now I love it.
What?
It's just
I
like
was
they're
like-
recreating
Well, I
the
saw
lore
that-
of these things. I'm like,
I'm not the one who said this, but I saw this on Twitter or whatever. Rancors are basically the pit bulls of the Star Wars universe. Like, they put on
That's what I was thinking.
like a mean face. They get a bad reputation, but beneath the surface, they're just really big softies.
I couldn't tell if this is like,
It's really funny.
because it's weird when they go back and they start filling in, because they're filling in Boba's backstory. They start filling in parts of Star Wars lore that like have been just left flapping in the wind for like 30 years or whatever. But I can't ever tell if it's like actually really it, or is it like Disneyfying Star Wars to make it like, I don't know. We need to have like everything's a misunderstood creature.
Well, you get to see there is a hint of that. There is a hint of that, because in the Return of the Jedi, when the Rancor dies, his handler is like really upset about it. Like, he had a close personal connection
I know,
with that
he
Rancor.
is.
So
Sure.
There's a
there's
connection.
something going on there. Yeah. So they kind of, bring that back.
Jabba's not the one that
I
cared.
could
Right.
see Trejo crying.
I had this when I was watching it the second time with my family. I was like, all right, so I've seen more of Boba Fett than I have of like Darth Vader or anything, right? Time-wise, because Boba Fett went from this guy who had like only a few minutes of footage in the OG trilogy, and now he has his own show, and he's basically all we see, kind of like the Mandalorian. There's never a scene without the Mandalorian. So we've actually spent more time with these new characters than any character outside of Star Wars as far as film goes, right? Because it's just them. Like, Fennec is barely in it. There's other characters who are barely in it, and like, you don't have a connection to the Tusken Raiders. So it's just an interesting thought, right? So we just seen him remembering his father leaving him. So we see this emotional side. It is definitely softening this villain. I always thought of him as a villain, like a bad guy. He's the guy that caught,
Pouring sugar on him.
Han Solo.
He's got a heart of gold. He rescues little orphans, millennials off the streets.
What
I
did you
don't
think was going to happen? Is it Disney-fying? Of course it is. It's on
Well,
Disney
yeah,
Plus.
you can't just have
I
you
know.
can't have Boba Fett going around murdering people in the streets, you know?
Yeah, you can't. You just can't have him do that.
I don't think he needs to murder him, but I don't know. Because he went into that bar and murdered all those people. That was perfectly fine.
I'm enjoying his performance more though too. Like the way he talks, it sounds like the man under the mask all those years too. You know, it's just cool how he talks.
Yeah, I mean,
I like how he looks.
it humanized.
I like how he
Well,
talks.
I feel like that's their whole goal, is to just humanize him a little bit more. Because before he was just kind of like a caricature, you know, and like you created your own backstory for him, like you're saying. But I was trying to flesh it out a little bit. I just want to see him ride a damn rancor. I know we're gonna get that. I know we're gonna get that in the next episode.
Trejo's he's gonna get them all trained up, and then Trejo's gonna die, and it's just gonna be Boba and his rancor. End of the season. We'll see.
End of the season.
See how long these fish guys last too.
Yeah, like it seemed like they're introducing them as like the big bad, like main threat that's gonna be persistent, but we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. Like, we still don't know any of Boba's motivations. Like, I think that'll come towards the end of his flashback sequences. Like, you know, you have a ship, you can go fucking anywhere you want in the galaxy. Go to friggin' Coruscant and go hang out and do some assassin missions or go do whatever. But you're sitting on this sandy planet, like in the middle of nowhere. Like, why? What's the whole
Dave,
point?
I saw Jon Favreau wrote this episode at the end in the credits. So I was like, okay, so I'm
sure he wrote all.
I'm gonna. Oh, maybe. But he's been kind of like the guy that Disney's been going to for writing a lot of stuff, right?
Sure. Yeah.
He's good at world building. So I always like have that in the back of my mind, right? And it makes me feel comfortable. Like I can just sit back and enjoy the ride. You know how when we watch movies, like Scorsese, Nolan, you know, there's certain names that I can just sit back and know that I'm going to see a good movie, you know, so it might even be great. There's certain names and Favreau's like that for me. Right. So it is weird though, being our age and being there before the prequels and then go through the prequels and see what they do building the Clone Wars and Anakin and the Emperor and the Trade Federation and, you know, Jar Jar and Darth Maul and all that. We went through that, and then the sequels happened. We go through all that. Mandalorian comes out for 2 seasons. We go through all that. It's in different hands with Disney. I don't know. It's just here we are with Boba Fett. They're gonna every episode is gonna add stuff, and it's gonna be this weird thing that people like us from our era are gonna have a weird feeling, right? And
it's for the kids. Know. I know it's for we've had this discussion before. Like a lot of the movie stuff, like as long as you're hooking in the kids of the next generation, like that big wheels are going to keep.
Well, I feel like this show specifically is not for the kids. This is for the fans of the original trilogy who wanted to see more of Boba Fett, you know?
Yeah. But you can still see, I don't know. It's not the dark, seedy underbelly. It's like the sugar-coated, darkened underbelly of Star Wars.
I mean, like Brandon said, it's Disney. If this was on fucking HBO or something, we would get that, but
that would be pretty sweet.
You got to take what we can
HBO
get
doesn't
here.
have however many billions of dollars to buy Star Wars, but I mean, it was all right. I like the current stuff better. It's kind of shitty the way they did the Tusken Raiders and just like, yeah, they're gone now. But I don't know, the more current day stuff and seeing the story move forward rather than the flashbacks is more of what I think we all want to see.
I didn't mind the Tusken Raiders kind of being gone because it's like, I don't know, he had his whole arc with them throughout, you know, episode 1 and 2, and like I feel like it was kind of nice just to have like a cutoff, like, okay, we're done with this part and now he's gonna move on to something else, you know. I just feel like you needed that with the storytelling, because like you would always, if they didn't do that, you'd always have that potential of like Tusken Raiders showing up later, or they keep going with that stuff, which I don't know. I feel like they knew people weren't going to latch onto that as much as some of this other stuff.
And now he's got the whole thread going forward of, you know, now they can show flashbacks of him going and murdering that entire gang, which is going to be sweet.
Oh, yeah.
He's just going to destroy all of them. So
Yeah, I mean, that's something to look forward to.
yeah, I'm curious to see how he's going to defend against these guys, because all he's got is his Rainbow Warrior, his Power Ranger posse ready, and a rancor.
And a rancor. I feel like they're gonna he's gonna form an alliance eventually with Black Chrysanthemum or whatever, the Wookiee. Because like at the end, after they let him go and everything, they kind of had this like mutual moment of respect, and then he's just like,
it's just business.
Right, exactly,
was all he had to say. He said the right thing, because it's like, it's not personal, but he's like, no, it's business, dude. And that's kind of, I think that sealed the deal. And yeah, he let him run, which I think is a good idea, because if you look at the Mandalorian, little by little he picked up his people, right, to do his final job and all that stuff. So we're kind of seeing this with Boba Fett, where like he starts off with Fennec, then he gets those guards, he gets some droids, and now he's got a biker gang of like millennials that Dave is super pumped about. He wants to know their names and everything like that.
Like, are any of them? Do you remember any of them except for the one girl that talked, and then there's the dude with the eye thing? They're like, they're just so unmemorable and.
Yeah, I don't know how far or in depth they're gonna go with those characters. I mean, who knows? Maybe next episode we get a full backstory on each character, which I wouldn't really like. But
no, it's not gonna happen.
I feel like it's just more of his crew to back him up. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, it was cool though. Like it's cool seeing like all these characters like coming out and fighting, especially one Wookiee against all these kids. Well, like these kids are supposed to be feared on the streets.
He's got to start somewhere. All he had was, Fennec is a good fighter and whatever, and a crazy assassin or whatever she is, but like he needs some other muscle to help back him up.
It's like building he's like an indie crime empire that he's an indie crime family that he's just
he's just helping out the local teens, giving him a job, summer job.
It's all right.
I think I don't know.
Sorry if I soured you guys. I'm such a sourpuss.
I did like this episode a lot. And I am, like, I feel like I say it every episode, but I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. I got Rancor lore.
I am excited to see him ride a Rancor. That's my number
I got to see more of the city. Like, that's what I was asking for. Like, I just need to see more of that world. Like, I don't want to spend my time in the desert. So I got to see more of, was it Mos Espa? What else is I got to see... kind of like the bigger picture, who's really at charge. I like the intro where there's like sections and like all that stuff. There's some beautiful shots of like Boba Fett. Dude, there was a cool shot where like in his flashback where he tied up his bantha to a post, like a horse going into an old western town. I thought like it just it just reminds me that this is a space western.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Mandalorian Easter egg in there? The lady with her droids walking down the street.
Oh, nice.
Just sprinkle them in there. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
How do banthas? I don't know. I had weird questions about banthas this episode, but like, how are they so big? Why do they have so much hair? I don't think I've ever seen a baby bantha.
I guess it's weird that they have a ton of fur for being native to this desert planet.
Yeah, and
but
they'd be hot as shit.
Maybe they've evolved, because we know that Tatooine used to be covered in water. Like, it didn't always used to be this desert planet. So maybe they have evolved over time.
Yeah, I thought that was weird how they mentioned it twice this episode, because
the Tuskens
they made a
note or whatever he says.
The Dune Sea, yeah.
But you'd think a bantha would require a lot of food and a lot of water, and they don't really move very fast. Maybe you don't really see them carrying too much.
Maybe they're like a camel, They've got that big body to store all that water.
I guess. I don't know. A lot of bantha questions now. I want some bantha lore. We've learned about the Tusken Raiders. Learning about crime syndicates. Let's learn about the agriculture of Tatooine next.
I would love some bantha lore.
Some water price gouging by some old man.
Water seems like a hot commodity over there.
Was that guy the actor who is also in like Office Space, who plays like the guy about the stapler?
No,
was that not that?
No.
It was like if he had a brother, it looked like him. I was like, it was bothering me, and I didn't look it up. But yeah, because like the episode is called the Streets of Mos Espa, right? So it starts off with like that whole let's meet like the people of the city. And this guy's complaining about the street gang.
Yeah, who knows? I'm kind of curious to see what these Pikes have planned and how Boba defends himself. I think that'll be cool.
He is from Office Space. You're right, Brandon.
Okay,
Wow.
so it is him. Yeah, all right. Yeah, weird, right? He just looked a little different, but I thought I recognized him. But yeah, just show me more gangs. Get that Wookiee back in the show. Get Boba on a Rancor, and
Yeah, I mean the
I'll feel
Wookiee.
better.
I'm for all
The
of
Wookiee
this.
has to join his crew. The Wookiee has to join his crew eventually. And like, dude, can you imagine? Like, nobody respects Boba Fett now, but like when he rolls into fucking town riding on a Rancor with a badass Wookiee by his
He's
side,
sick.
like everybody's gonna fear him.
Yeah, of course. He's got a pretty cool team going on right now. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I don't know. So let's just rate it. What would you give it, Dave?
I'm gonna give it like a 7, 6.5.
Wow.
7. We'll go
Okay.
7. 6.5 feels like it's like I don't want you to see it, but it's good. It's world building. It's interesting. Some of the choices they made were a little iffy, but it was good. It was solid.
I feel like I did 8.5 the first 2 episodes, so go a little notch higher at 8.75. Not quite a 9 yet.
Whoa, 3/4.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Not quite.
I can't give it a 9 because it's not perfect. There are, there's some, whatever. There's some stuff that's.
I did
also,
agree
I don't
with
think
the
for
bike
me.
stuff.
Like,
Yeah, it's not
the
not
bike
the best.
gang.
Shiny
but
bikes, like nothing's shiny on this planet.
Whatever.
There's not one goddamn shiny thing on the entire planet. Not a brand new ship. Not a speeder that just went through the car wash.
Yeah.
There's no droids washing stuff.
Well, I don't know. Maybe since they don't have jobs, they got all this time to sit around and clean their bikes.
How are they paying for it, and how are they obtaining these bikes if they're poor street urchins and they got this, I don't know, a posse of color rainbow bikes? It looks so dumb with Boba Fett walking with them rolling in behind
Oh, I didn't
them.
mind
Like,
it. I thought it was cool looking, but it's. Yeah, I'm the same
It's
way.
a ragtag
It was
crew.
ragtag crew. Everything would be dirty and broken, and we've never even seen, like, the only shiny thing we've ever seen was on Naboo, and that was like a nice
Oh, I'm
planet.
trying to think. In episode 1, when we visit young Anakin, is there anything clean there?
Well, no, he's
I mean,
a fucking
that's-
slave.
None of the pod racers, nothing.
I'm trying to think of that whole, like the downtown area.
Because the Naboo ship was just
I don't know.
weird because it was like silvery, shiny. But
hmm
I don't know. I'm just being cranky old man. I want my Star Wars the way I want it.
I'm with you, Dave. I'm trying to balance that as I get older because we just watched The Matrix, and I have the same reaction with the young generation. Like, how could she be a captain at that age? It's just, it's
I felt
it's
the same
outrage.
way.
It's trying to be self-aware. Like, I don't get today's music. Like, I don't get these new characters they add to Star Wars. Like,
That's why you have me on.
That's
That's
got to keep ourselves.
that's
in
why you
check.
have me on here. You got the young man's perspective.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
All right, and Eric, what is it? So it's like an 8.75, right?
I
And I'm
said
with
an
you on that.
8.75. Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. So, but I love the lore building, and I like the new characters, and the bikes could have been a little dirtier. Yes, like whatever. It is what it is. But there are kids watching it, and it's Disney Plus. But there was some. I think the highs of this episode brought it up that extra notch for sure.
Mhm.
I think there were some pretty cool things in there, and
Yep.
less desert scenes.
Yep.
Always
The
higher.
highs.
Key Raiders.
The highs were definitely higher than the previous ones. I thought so. That's why I bumped it up a little bit for
the
me.
next episode is going to be the middle episode.
Yeah, episode 4 out of 7.
So,
So
it could really put things into how the rest of the season plays out.
Into Act
Because we
2.
kind of got a crew going.
well,
You can only have so many characters on screen in a 35-minute, show. or
Yeah.
whatever.
Setting up all their chess pieces, and eventually everything's going to come together.
the next episode, it seems like, judging by the end of this one, is going to be like, the conflict starts. Because we've had these 3 episodes to build up, and now I feel like getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody going to double cross
All
Boba?
I mean, who knows? Fennec might be, let in.
I don't know.
You don't know. I mean,
think-
why would she? He
feel
saved her
that-
life, but how can you trust anybody? She's kind of badass. She's kind of useful, so she's always using like her fucking knife to take, do stuff. So, who knows, with 7 episodes, not much to every episode is going to do something.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I think next episode will be doing something to set up the rest of the season.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we've talked about this enough. So, yeah, let's see everybody in the next episode. Hopefully it's a good one. And we all are giving it 9s and above.
May the force be with you.
Rotini.
This episode is brought to you by Dragon Snack Games, Buffalo's full-line hobby game store featuring one of Western New York's largest selection of board games, gaming miniatures, model paint, dice, role-playing games, collectible card games, and more. I have actually been to this place. It's massive, much bigger than you would think. Check it out. That's Dragon Snack Games.